this filter is weird. It takes away my eyes, but mm, in these times, doing makeup is more action than love. So I joined the filter crew. I think you don't have to really watch a lot of this video because it's really more a podcast. It's audio commentary on the political situation. It is about the political situation in the world on the 2nd of April 2025, 10:32 German time. Me, white person sitting in Essen, a ruhr area, post-industrial poor area mostly, and I'm doing a queer commentary on the political landscape um, from a subjective perspective. Like I will signify the political situation as far as I know it from my perspective and from perspectives that others gave me to complete my research. I am trying to understand the political world situation nowadays, more or less from a military, strategic, geostrategical warfare mode. I don't see the people in power doing any kind of democratic work. I see them resolving to military operational guidelines, and their politics has long been dissolved into military planning. So, after fighting for democracy or even embracing basic forms of socialism in democratic societies, as the promise and the idea of democracy or socialism, which is in part seen in the workers' movement or also in dialectical based emancipation processes like feminist emancipation or black emancipation, mm, or trans emancipation. Um, this actually be the idealistic gain from liberal theory to include dialectical progress as a self-completion of thought, which is not progress, but more like Spinoza put it, viewing things from a perspective of eternity, which gives them a decontextualized, overreaching meaning, meaning that you place your gesture or your expression and your behavior, your feeling, everything you experience in any kind of context, and then see the ethical truth of the thing you do. Because, like, if you draw a painting, wherever you draw it, is it flying in space or is it dying alone? It is still a gesture of love and poetry. And this is what Spinoza maybe also meant. Back to politics. We have a situation where everybody just went to war, berserker style, and they don't have any idea what they're doing. This is a really stupid and bad situation for the world. We have so-called leaders in charge, which are ass clowns. Ass clown is a general metaphor for the homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, generally patriarchal, but in a more stupid and obscene way, and with a colonialist parody of clowniness while embracing death as their only measure and domination as their only tool. They piss on the dead clowns by embracing their weirdness, their absurdity, their non-conclusiveness, and their humor without having fun with it. They are not waiting for Godot, they became Trump, and nobody did for that, and nobody had to wait for it, but it still came, and don't remember the name because it's a system. The system of global warfare needs some actors to proceed in campaigning for systematic mm, engagement, caging people in a metaphorical way, which is always problematic because it takes away the real problem of cages. So, what is done to minds in comparison to bodies is also a form of torture because the mind, in this sense, has to be seen as a living organism. It cannot be portrayed as a side effect of body. It is possible to have body and have consciousness shared in many bodies. This is seen in ants or bees or sparrows or like swallows. I think consciousness has not to be experienced as it is in some human consciousness. Consciousness is found in some specific arrangement of human consciousness. The access to consciousness by the thinking person, in this case me, becomes more a speaking for the words themselves. It's just saying what's need to be said instead of saying something specific about me right now. This is a very specific situation, and it has to be theoretically commodified, theoretically accompanied that the way, the specific functionality of how different minds in a space use consciousness is very important to distinguish the different experiences. As far as symbiotic organisms like humans experience collective situations by adding experience to a common signified experience, and this symbolic commonness doesn't need everyone to access it with the same tools, but only with the same attitude. So if you do a group dance theater or a dance thing, you add on, like if you know, like any group work, anything where you work with more people, you see that it is not everybody doing everything all the time, and it's never about that, because this is a weird challenge, and it's based on it's a concept maybe of learning, which can be interesting, but not in the context of applying it to everything. So back to the political disorder. The ass clowns have taken over the planet, and they are encouraged to kill us all. They like the world to die, and they want to do it now. And they have the weapons, and they have the forces, and they have the plans, and they have the strategies, and they want to just, first of all, as far, and this is now the part where I disclaimer again, that I'm just a queer person, a white trans woman from Essen, from a semi-middle class background, living as an artist, working as a cultural production agent for the state, and creating some visual media in between, and doing performance space. And I'm an improvisational artist doing improvisational artwork for 20 years or so or more. So this is why I do live stream and talk like this without a script, because I actually was realized as a performer, as a freestyle MC doing drum bass beats. Yes, so yeah, bum, I won't do it now because I'm here to talk about politics. Politics, which is also very private and personal, but in this case, it's not. It is about the public storm of war going on everywhere. And it is a rightful question to ask, is there anything to be still done? Because if we look at the history of political movements in Europe, and this is also an important disclaimer that like there is a problematic way of how to deal with European colonial knowledge, which is accumulated in like my mind, for example, like the knowledge itself. It's not the interpretation of the knowledge, the use of the knowledge, the way I frame the knowledge, the critical edge, whatever. No, it's just the knowledge itself, which is ideologically given to any person being raised in Germany. And this is what I can talk about as my experience. It seems, on the first hand, very complicated to understand German subjektivation, but it is important to understand German subjektivation if I want to talk later on in this video about what to do in this situation, in Germany especially. I will also talk about global war in a more specific sense. I will talk about Gaza and Israel, and Russia, and Turkey, Germany, and Ursula von der Leyen, and Frontex, and um, drone war, and the transparent battlefield, and art, and hope, and revolution. So yeah, maybe let's see how long this will take. Mm, German subjectivation is very difficult process because it is just like you see it in these dystopian science fiction movies where like a battle station is flying above a planet, like in one of my controversially sure favorite movies, Alita Battle Angel, where I really identify with the main character. And yeah, there is a space station in this science fiction fling where where there yeah, the rich people just fly above the moon or above the planet, and they have better system. There's also this like better, like they are healthy because they have all the money and the resources. Like in District 9, this is a more common reference in this topic, I suppose. So yeah, people in Germany grow up like in this gated community in a more in a bigger sense. Like it's gated community with a gate, but then it's gated, 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 and this is just a very simple image of understanding how identity is signified. Is a first world inhabitant person. Like it is about fencing, and despite it seems the fences are far away, there is something that you realize about everything, about the fences, because they are part of the structure of your freedom. Like if you grow up in a first world situation, and you also have like me in Germany, it's very specific because there's a double-edged sword of Germany, because it's about Germany, 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 and Germany is very specific. Germany, the ancient child of the United States, the good learner of democracy, the favorite one, the good one, and of course the collaborative force of global eugenics and genocide, and a good partner and agent in colonialism, but especially a eugenicist agent of erasure of people, which is the German contribution. Also, there are many parts involved, but the theater of death conspired by Germans, which is celebrated in so many Hollywood productions and movies where you can see them being killed. The non-joke about the story again being that the Inglorious Bastards themselves are cooperating in this mission like big time. So, um, me hating Germany as growing up here, it is very obvious for what reasons. It is not political reasons in this chop chop. No, no, I have to hate something because I'm so out of order. No, I love this. No, no kind of phrasing. No, no, no. Gives me this vibey and this ghosty image if somebody's still watching. Ooh, look at the eyes. Ooh, but it's more about the sound. So, yeah, I will get not too deep anymore in this German subjektivation thing. I will. Oh, still, I will. Okay, yeah, fencing and subjectivity. It creates yourself as a first world child, which has 5,000, 50,000 more value than any person born not in this situation. And it is like very, it is seems on the first, if you want to reconstruct it very like linearly, why does German person become such a weird agent of imperialism and colonialism just by growing up here not doing anything? But if you put it very easy, because it's just I think I need to understand the easy part too better, but I think if I have to feel this image just because it's kind of easy. You just sit 10,000 kilometers away from a border where people are shot for you to survive, and you think that's an historic win. Weird kind of win. And the problem with language, they like politics, like yeah, there is this critique of ideology saying like language is full of is ideology. So yeah, you have to deconstruct and reconstruct and analyze and do stuff. But the interesting part is that the mind processes the language. And there's always the problem of people forgetting about this because it's, yeah, language, blah, 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 discourse. I can say this word and you can say this word, but mind, symbolic order is created in mind. This is like reference, like structure, like different kind of arrows, bows, and spins. Like if you Google the word attractors, Attraktoren in German, you can see like visualizations of how brain activity might look like. Because important is to think that it's the most complex that could ever exist. Because yeah, this mind, whatever, like we don't go in body mind problem now, but it is very obvious that there is a processing unit creating a synchronicity with the other material things which are maybe objectified or maybe not, or stand in a like non-hierarchical direct symbolic relation, or they are even touched or kissed or loved or shared or embedded, trusted and grown or revolutionized. There are many ways of touching, and it's always about, and if you touch like not only mind but you touch with hand and mind and you mix these two chimeric orders of beautiful organic connection which create this body, which is a very intricate thing, like even if it doesn't work well, yeah, I know it is ableist everything, but it is beautiful. It is still doing good work in creating consciousness, even being awake is so weird and amazing if you compare it to the knowledge you get about normal machines, because that would be the way of finding out, am I as a being human born? And I would get back to politics, but I will have to cherish the agents, which is the most important part of the story, really. Because if we talk about global war and want to find a way to work with the problem, there has to be some agent, some person, not this projection, maybe some other, and to create step by step a different situation. So we need to talk about the agents. How do we find the agents of revolution? It's always a big problem for revolutionaries. How do we find them? I don't know. Yeah, I know. To find agency um, means to realize that it is not a problem of dialectics. For me, it's again, as a German person, it is not a problem of dialectics to accept that people are killed and tortured, murdered and sold, executed and massacred, brutalized, and so on, in the interest of realizing my German identity. It is not a dialectical problem, which would mean that I would have to kind of deal with it in a mental way. I have to create a criticism of it, and then I would say, oh, people killing at the border, Frontex, people, agent pushing children in water, electrocuting people in the dark, throwing them in water, they're freezing, like everything you don't think is likable, they do for you. Like not any person watching this, but if especially this is really going out to Germany because Germany is, and so this is also important in political commentary to make very clear that the situation of Germany is the very important in the analysis because Germany is not any other EU country. Germany is the head of EU. Now we're going to talk a little polemic and populist, but it will be faster than making it very intricate because it is really kind of true. And if you like this kind of criticism, you can maybe watch one of the best German orators of politic life since I grew up is surely Gregor Gysi. It's a left-wing politician. So if you need rhetorics in German, you can always pick a speech by this person, and there will be blood. Yeah. And it will be very obvious how political processes work because it was never about that nobody knows the criticism. And that's why I will get back to the dialectics problem because there is no dialectical problem with accepting German identity is protected somewhere, bombing the Houthis or killing people in Palestine or in Sudan or bombing Iran or I don't know what's going on in the battlefields of Ukraine. How is the new German artillery thing doing? You know that one? I think it's very good. I think that's also very interesting. If you are in Germany, because it's about weapons. So yeah, again, like this identity, it's symbolic. And there's a mind processing German identity. So there is a reference. It is not I am German. There is no way of identifying the process with the thing. It will never happen. Like you can turn the computer and it will not become the software. It will not. It will just be the computer and play the software. So as much data there comes in, it will just remain a process forever. There's no hope, no stopping it. It's pew, 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 creating as possible synchronicity with other energetic reality, material reality, field, whatever you want to apply from physics back to politics. As agents of global revolution, we need to accept that Germany is bad, the wars have to stop, and we will have to have a very different kind of ethics. The ethics is very important because it doesn't make sense without any ethics. It is not possible. We cannot accept every kind of behavior. We cannot accept any kind of way of dealing with reality. We cannot accept people saying it's a kind of matter of debate. We cannot accept that people say maybe so, watching people die. We cannot accept people displaying authority, even in some contexts where there is no authority, like for example in the supermarket, not in a conversation. So there's a lot to do, but it is important to start. So we start by giving meaning to our own process, which means just not creating dialectics or problems out of materialist conditions, but relating them to our minds as paradoxy. Because the paradoxy comes from the idealist democratic projection of ethics and bourgeoisie and idealism, and in this case, again, Germany, head of Europe, dominating the system, taking away the money from the other countries, doing it for themselves. And historically, if you want it, it is what like Goebbels envisioned. Is Germany as head of EU. How is it called? Germany first, and then domination of EU will come by itself. It is the slogan, and this is the history of the perspective of Germany. And I think it's very, 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 very important here to again stretch the fact that people in Germany tend to have the weird idea that they can like look at their history and like compare it globally to other nations in the world, which is fine. You can like you look what did Germany do, France, Spain, the Portuguese. What did what did people do? You can look at that. And then you look, and then you have the German perspective, which I will have to again make part of this situation to later explain the situation. How does Germany look on the problems in the Middle East? And how is their colonialist whiteness projecting death to other states and deserting landscapes and destroying culture and destroying everything and poisoning the earth and throwing their garbage on people, like literally like nuclear waste on people, which they have to dispose of. So why is it normal for a regular German person like me to be in a state of mind where it is just actually possible to put this in a state of critique? And this is what I'm criticizing, because there is no state of critique. It's just paradox to the complicated situation which people tell you how you should behave as a person in Germany and think, because it is based on, it cannot even work creating subjektivation. Even the word subjektivation depends on humanist tradition. And how you can interpret humanist tradition as bad as you want to. You will never end up in a situation where you feel like, yeah, it's great. We execute people for my well-being at the border every day. That will not happen, because subjectivation is a process and it creates a relation between what is told and what you feel. So if you feel very healthy, happy, live in a good place, like have the fire is burning and good food, and you get the information everybody's dying, it will create paradoxy in your mind because it doesn't make sense at the first instant, because you think, why? I live good. I live here happy, healthy. Why is everybody dying? But it will not create dialectics. You cannot sit at the kitchen table and talk to your father, mother, brother, sister, everyone. Hopefully not. Maybe you have chosen family like me. You're very lucky, like privileged person like me, being excluded, finding on family. That's very, very good for me. So it won't solve the problem, and it won't even, will it really create, yeah, it will create, will it create a good situation? Yeah, you can talk about the shit and create tension, and it's all good. I will not judge this. It's a social problem, a social good, very good. But back to the problem of politics, dialectical vision of global war, no paradoxical realization of privilege in violent situation. And it's just both true. privilege, violence, violence, privilege, privilege, violence, violence. And then violence goes up, privilege goes down, violence, it changes. It's a power play. No, it's a violence, privilege, violence, and people deal it. Killing, 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 killing all the time. And they like it. And yeah, that was the first part of my video. In the second part of the video, I will talk more specifically about Ursula von der Leyen, which I promised. I will now take a little break and turn this off, and I will be back in, let's say, 30 minutes. And the people watching this on YouTube will think, what is that even for an like off-topic kind of off moderation? Does that what is this person YouTubing? How can she? How can she? It is not even possible. So cutie people. Yeah, this it is a long video. It will maybe take 3 or 4 sessions because did I even start talking about a lot of the stuff? No, it will take a long time. It will take time. And it was important to get the lessons from this clip to understand that what I said last was very important to me to understand the situation. Don't put material conditions as symbolic reflections. Like if you live in a shitty home, don't signify to yourself, I live in a shitty home. Just process you live in a shitty home. Don't make anything of it. Don't create additional logic, creating what they call esoterics or spirituality. What they call this is feeling. Don't come for spirituality. I will have a very good party with you. But love for all. So yeah, I will take a break. And it was important to understand that, yeah, like I said, and I will talk about more. The video wasn't that bad. I think I gave my best. So see you very very soon.